Okay, you got one of the most charismatic actors of all time, and you got his son, Jaden Smith, who was pretty decent in Karate Kid, and you also had the Prince of Happiness. And you're thinking, he's older, rising star. He's gonna be in a movie with his father? Just the two of them, mind you. Just the two of them in a survival movie. You're like, yo.
How can you mess this up, right?
Exactly.
How can you mess this up?
But then you throw some intergalactic mumbo jumbo, intergalactic guys, like sci-fi,
bad sci-fi.
And then you go back to a place called Earth to make a movie called After Earth. And mind you, this movie is made by M.Night
in 2013.
Let's let you know that M.Night has a very bad place in my heart right now because the way he ruined The Last Airbender. We're not gonna jump into that movie. Today, this review is about After Earth, and it went south real quick.
Pack your bags. We are going to a detour.
What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka, and what is Movie Breakdowns? It's a movie review series where we look at new and old movies, give them a grade, A through F. Plus or minuses do count. In this movie you want me to review, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I'll get to it as quick as I can. Also on the Patreon.com/Ali Zakka. And on this Patreon you get movies first come, first serve. Like right now, this movie's getting made in October. You might not see this review until December, but on Patreon, you see this review probably beginning of November, first week. Heck, you might see it next week. You don't know, but you'll get it before everybody else does. And on top of that, if you get my Patreon, you ask me to do a review, because you're paying for my services, I get to it immediately. And I might have to change the schedule around so you can get it quicker. Now, check that out, and let me introduce today's guest, Tyreik. He's back. Another fan favorite. He's done so many reviews with me.
Couple of them.
What's the last one we done? Was it
Street Fighter?
Street Fighter?
Street Fighter was the last one we did.
Street Fighter. Yeah.
That was great.
And now he's back for 2013's After Earth.
Oh boy. Where do we begin?
We begin with the first thoughts, and my first thoughts. You want to go first? I go first on that thoughts.
Okay, you want to throw it up? I'll go first.
All right.
So first thoughts about the movie. Okay, I was one of the people on the hype train for this movie. I liked the trailer. The trailer got me interested. The premise got me interested. So it's Will Smith, Jaden Smith. It's a father son. It's like a coming of age story. Basically, Jaden's supposed to come up and be a ranger with his dad. Dad's supposed to show him the ropes. You know the story, right? So I'm interested in that. That made me feel good. But when I was really hyped for this movie. I went in, I saw it, and this movie, you just slowly keeps going down and down and down and down. It's boring. There's not a lot of action in it. Good set pieces. It looks good, and you kind of get interested in some pieces, but it never gets there. It's a lot of potential, and it fizzles out heavily. That's my thoughts about the movie. What about you, Zach?
So this movie is an hour and 40 minutes, and it felt so much longer than that. Like there's movies you watch, or 2 hour long movies, you're like, this doesn't feel like 2 hours at all. And there's movies you watch, Black Panther, Harry Potter. And there's movies you watch where you're like, this is 2 hour long movie. They should have cut this movie down 20 minutes. This movie, I felt like should have cut down an extra 40 minutes. It was so long and dragged out. And the sad part about this movie, it's an hour and 40 minutes. Like, okay, that's not bad enough. That's not bad timing. It's good. But the fact the character delivery, the line delivery, the pacing of it is super slow and dragged out. And you're like, okay, why are we going through this? And there are things that happen in this movie that shouldn't happen. For example, Jaden gets called Jaden. His name is Katai Rage. He gets captured by a giant.
Keep going. I forgot his last name was Rage. Rage.
And Prime Commander Cypher Rage?
Prime Commander Cypher Rage!
Yeah, that was his father's name. That was Will Smith's name. But
Cypher.
He gets captured by a giant eagle. or bird. Gets put into this bird's nest, and then in this nest, all of a sudden, these lions somehow found the nest of all places.
The bird was stupid enough, which birds don't do, by the way, to build the nest where a land animal could get to it. Come on, Brett. Anyway, keep going.
And mind you, like on top of that, like this giant lion, like all these lions, this pride, this herd, not herd, but pride attacks at once, and the convenience of Jaden Smith being there. Jaden doesn't save the baby eagles. No, in fact, they die, and then the big bird comes back later to save Jaden's life.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Why?
It's like the bird appreciated the attempt to save the babies and was so grateful of that attempt, decided to follow him scenes later and help him out right when he needed it,
and sacrifice
itself and killing itself.
Also, mind
in an environment that it lives in.
What?
Had to add that. Okay.
And to add to that, like there's things I pointed to Tyreik before we started the review, off the behind the scenes stuff, not on camera stuff, of us watching the movie again, and we've seen like clips of background stuff happening where the continuity between scenes are not going on. You watch this movie, look in the background sometimes, because people are not moving in a scene where the main actor, the main character is moving, nobody's moving in the background. Like they cut back to the scene multiple times. Mm-hmm. Or a guy is in the background talking, and then every time they cut the scene, he's not moving or talking, and they cut back and he's talking. And you're like, that's horrible pacing, horrible like scripting and scene and editing. This movie is just not good with that.
Every line. First off, the dialogue's really bad. The writing is really bad. The delivery is really bad. The accents are really bad.
Why do they have accents?
Why do they have accents? Because
that is near insanity, Qatar.
Heavy damage to outer hull. It's a breach possible in middle.
Find me something I can land on. Now!
Here's the thing. We have the backstory is really bad. The premise is it goes, there's parts of it that make me go, yes, this is cool, but then they don't show anything, like you always say, they don't show anything, so it's like, well, I'll tell you when we get in the story. I'll tell you when we get to the story. When we get to the story.
Well, to add to that, like the beginning of it, let's break that down, because there's some things, for example, Will Smith has I think it's a very inspirational line in this movie about fear. But how he gets up to that point about that line, he tells a story. Any other Will Smith movie you watch, 7 Pounds, when he's talking about his backstory in 7 Pounds, you see the backstory. You see exactly what happens and why he's feeling a certain way. This movie has a perfect scene for a flashback, and
it needed that flashback too, because it could have showed the badassery of Cypher Rage. We don't see it except for that one scene where he's walking and he does a baseball swing. Like, it's not even cool. He does a baseball swing and he cuts an Ursa and then he turns and looks at the camera. That's it. We're supposed to believe he was the hardest soldier because of the baseball swing.
And before we get even further, I do want to mention the budget of this movie, and because the CGI, for example, it's okay. It's okay. But the budget of this movie was $130 million. Opening weekend, they only made $27 million. And grossed $60 million.
Oh, that's a loss.
But worldwide, they made $243 million. So they barely...
Nah, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. when you look at it overall, it's like, and that's probably over time. Like, does it have first week, second week?
Opening weekend right there.
Is this an opening week?
Yeah, opening weekend. And this is M.Night Shyamalan, by the way. This guy, this is kind of like after the fall of Last Airbender was a low point for him. And
was that before this?
Yeah.
When did that come out? 12?
2010.
10, yeah.
And then this movie was like trying to him come back up, and you're thinking him working with Will Smith could be something special. It wasn't.
The directing, and you know what? The directing is bad too. There's really, let me tell you something about the directing. Let's talk about this directing real fast. Let's not even talk about lines with the directing. I'm talking about camera positioning. It's really weird because there's one shot. There's shots where people are really, really close to the camera where you can't like see half their face, where it's cut off, and it's like you're supposed to be into a character's emotions, but they're so close to their face. It's almost distracting sometimes. And then there's There's really weird scenes where I don't know if this is Shyamalan trying to be cool, but he's like got the camera slightly in foliage and stuff, and it's almost like blocking what's going on screen, and I can't see, and it's kind of annoying. It's like, and there's a scene where Jaden's talking, Katai's talking, and the camera's just constantly doing this thing, and it's like, why are you moving? You know what I'm saying? And that bothers me. I know it doesn't bother some people. That bugs me.
It wasn't good stuff. Like, for example, there's a scene where Katai is like, he's getting mad at his dad because apparently, jump in the story real quick, but apparently, a death in the family. This says spoilers, but guys, give you the heads up. So we'll get into the story in the story.
I've watched it already.
But a death in the family really like weighs heavy on more Katai than Cypher from what it looks like. But Katai is sitting there having this flashback, and then he had a moment where he talked to his dad about, "You think I'm the coward? What do you think I should do?" And Cypher goes, "Well, what do you think you should do?" And he said he should have helped. I don't think he said anything.
He doesn't respond to it.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's like, "I'm not a coward. You're the coward. You wasn't there. You're the coward." And he looks this way. "You're the coward." And he looks right at the camera. "You're the coward." And I'm like,
that seems bad. And it's like, what was his dad supposed to do? He's like, that's like any soldier gets shipped out. Like everybody who's had a military family, or even just watched the movie, your family members in the military get shipped out. They go away for X amount of time. It's not like you can depend on them. If you get attacked in that time, he ain't there. So he couldn't have done anything in that situation. It's like he's supposed to teleport back like Nightcrawler and save her.
But apparently, also, the movie never really sets this up. Let's go and get into the story, because the movie never sets this up. Apparently, Earth got really bad because humans destroyed Earth.
Pollution.
So we had to get off of the planet and found another planet to live on. But at the same planet we moved to, some aliens came and dropped their creature called Ursas on this planet to attack humans out of nowhere.
For no reason. We don't know why.
Apparently, Ursa's been around this planet for a while with humans. They've been living together because his daughter gets killed. Who played by Zoe Kravitz. They wasted her in this movie, sadly. But she gets killed
in their house.
In their house,
yeah. So the little space colony or planet they're on, which we only see one scene of it, it's at night, and it looks like a bunch of little spiral buildings. Yeah, the Ursa got there.
Yeah, somehow. In their nice
living
room and apartment. Like, you look at the place, it's super nice. And the Ursa made some climbs to get up to where their room is.
Because they live in the top.
Yeah.
Does his mom, was the mom there trying to fight? Was the sister there trying to fight? Mom's still alive.
Yeah.
Was she trying to fight?
And Jaden's character was maybe what? 8?
Probably.
10?
Probably.
So it's some years have passed. So it's not like it wasn't like this happened when it was before the humans started colonizing. Humans been on this planet.
Yeah, they've been on there for a while.
So the movie doesn't explain if the Ursa's always been around. Like, it doesn't say anything. The next time you meet the Ursa is inside a cage.
So it's like maybe, and see, they don't say this. Maybe at that point in time they didn't know about the Ursa yet. Maybe at that point in time, because you know how Jaden's narrating in the beginning. Maybe he found out about it later after the fact. But it doesn't make sense if that's the case, because they've already moved off planet and things like that. You would think your dad, who's got this reputation already, who, mind you, was in the military when he was a baby, when he was a kid, and when he's a teenager. So he's been in a long time. He would have said something by this point. Right. There's no way. I know my dad was in the military. He was special. There's a lot of stuff he can't talk about. I get it. He can tell you if he was over there and he was... That's common knowledge. Everybody knows this. So if he's fighting these Ursas, he should have been like, "Hey, y'all need to fortify the house, just in case." Because you see how what do you call it, preemptive he is and everything else. And when the ship goes on, he's there before it happens. When he's talking to Jaden, he's super cautious. He wants to get him ready before anything happens. But not for the Ursa that attacked their own home.
Also, me thinking of that, this movie, literally the first hour and 20 minutes of it is a flashback. Because Jaden is frozen right now to death before he gets dragged. He is frozen. This movie is maybe the hour first.
When he first starts talking about it.
Maybe the first hour and 30 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. It is definitely. Oh no, not hour and 30 minutes, because that hour and 40-minute movie. But maybe the first hour of it is a flashback. It really is. Now I thought about that, which kind of is a little infuriating. Think about it.
But it's poorly done. He tries to Quentin Tarantino it, but it didn't work very, very well. Especially because the order in which Jaden gives the really bad exposition is off, because it's like they tell you all this stuff, but then they show things that seem like they don't add up to it, like you were just saying, and then it's like he shouldn't have said that. Then he should have said something else, so it didn't seem like he was aware. Because the fact that they're aware, now if you're aware and you didn't do nothing, you should feel guilty. Now I see where the issue is. If that was the case, but y'all didn't show that,
right?
But
and also, what was he supposed to do? He's a little kid. Like he was trained for. Like his parents didn't train him. His sister didn't train him. Anyway, so we get this flashback, and then we get Katai training, and apparently he is kicking everybody's butt in his training,
running faster.
Then fails the ranger exam because he collapsed. He collapsed in the field, but we don't see that. And then you get to meet the badass that is Cypher Rage and Stoic. Will Smith is the most charismatic actor of all time. Boy. Stoic. The one thing he has excitement is when Jaden asks and he goes to his room and he goes, "Denied! Sit down!"
My room.
Are you asking me or telling me?
May I go to my room, sir?
Denied! Sit down!
And the only reason he does that is because he's not speaking to him with respect. That's really all it is he's like, Jaden's pissed off already. This is so weird. I thought this scene was weird too because he hasn't seen his dad. His dad hasn't seen his dad in a while. His dad just comes back off of like a tour. His dad comes back. He's upset because he didn't get to make Ranger, and he really wanted to tell his dad that he made Ranger when he comes back. And so he goes, he's pissed off at the table, acting like he doesn't want to talk to his dad because he knows he's gonna ask. But you still wouldn't act like that if you haven't seen your dad in a long time. Even though he would be disappointed, he would still be happy to see you. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of agitated at the table the entire dinner, and he's just talking to his dad, and he's just like, "How are finals?" "I didn't make Ranger." "What?" "I didn't make Ranger." And he looks up at him again like, "I didn't make Ranger, sir." Gets a little bit louder. It's so bad. And then he asks to be excused from the table because he doesn't want to talk about it. Even though he knew they were going to talk about it. "May I be excused?" "Are you asking me or telling me?" "I'm asking." "Denied! Sit down!" That's the only emotion you see from Will Smith the whole time.
The whole movie.
Even when he's like, when his son is in super danger, or even when his son is yelling at him, it would have been a cool little back and forth. But
besides, you should get Will Smith.
Yeah, that's it. It's like his emotions are stoic and disappointment, slight disappointment. By the way, not a whole bunch of disappointment. You get a head nod out of him. You get a Katai, take a knee.
Take a knee, Katai. Cadet, take a knee, cadet.
When he tells Katai to take a knee, that's him telling him to shut up and sit down and stop being an idiot, basically.
So, oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
So Katai is really like butthurt, and Cypher is like telling his wife that, you know what, I think I'm about retiring after this last thing I gotta do, so like that. I think I'm gonna work with you. She apparently does something that's architecture. We don't know.
Apparently,
it wasn't. It was mentioned by
something engineering of some sort.
She was messing with some diagram.
They mentioned one thing about like working with mom, and he says maybe I could work on a jet turbine or something. So she obviously has something to do with designing aircraft or something.
And she's like, well, you should go, talk to your son. He's been reading Moby Dick, trying to get more to bond with you, because Cypher loved reading Moby Dick to his daughter, who the one that gets killed. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, her death made him shut off everything with his son. Like, it's almost like he didn't really care. To me, it seemed like he didn't care for his son. He does care. It was like he treated him differently than he treated his own daughter, which made
it's almost like he blames himself for her death, and so he doesn't want he keeps the emotional detachment off, so he can always I guess so he can always go. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, is he doesn't want to allow any emotion in, so at any point in time he could always go. But we don't see him do anything.
Yeah, and on top of that, because you're not scared of something, because the things that the Ursas were feeding off people's fear. If you aren't scared of them, they're not going to mess with you. You go invisible to them. So your emotions for everything else shouldn't bother a thing. just the fact that you see Earth's like, oh,
just
I handled
in the moment.
Yeah, I handled this before, no big deal. It's like you learn how to walk or learn how to ride a bike. At first, riding a bike is scary as a kid, but then once you learn how to ride a bike, that fear of riding is no longer there. Why does that have to do? Like, what does that have to do with?
It's almost like he's like to me. It just feels like he's doing it because he's trying to be overly there. He's trying to always be there, but it doesn't make sense for him to do that.
It doesn't.
Unless now here's how it can make sense. If they were in constant warfare, if they showed them at their home and the Ursas were on their planet, like blowing stuff up in their kind of resistance style, it would make sense for him to always be that way because they can attack at any moment. But not when it seems like
they can go camouflage. They can
camouflage themselves like some predators. They're basically like some. That's literally what I thought they were.
Yeah.
They're like some really weird predators that for fear predators.
So yeah, that's him called. It's called ghosting in this world. When I heard of it, I thought it was like relationship ghosting for some reason. That's what came to my mind. Like, dang,
Blocked.
got blocked. Nobody not talking to you anymore. Ghosting. But anyway, so he's like a master at this, and he's also one of the top generals.
He's a prime commander.
So he brings, thanks to his wife, brings Katai on with this last mission, and they're on his way to this planet on this same ship. They bring a Ursa for training.
Why does he bring him on this trip? That's supposed to be their bond. That's why it happens.
There's no bonding.
There's no bonding here.
There's
The only reason he brings Katai is because he's supposed to go over there and do some training with some soldiers. Only reason Katai comes along is because mom tells him that he's trying to bond with you, and he goes in the room. Instead of having a talk with his son, he decides to just bring his son along with his training, and that was his talk. This is how he's gonna bond with his son. Pack your bags. We're going to Aditos. I had to say it again.
That's it. And on their way to this place, intergalactic storm hits them out of nowhere. Where you get some mumble jumble talk. Anyway, they had to crash land on Earth, which is 1,000 years since people landed on Earth, and everything on this planet is designed to kill humans. Everything.
When they haven't been there for 1,000 years.
Yeah. So they land on Earth, look like the rainforest, the Amazon, like that's where they landed at. And Jaden and Will Smith, the only two survivors. Part of the ship breaks off in the other part of
the tail.
The tail breaks off in another part of the planet. It's like a 3-day hike to get to it.
Okay. Can I say something real fast?
What's up?
Now, this scene bothered me because I swear when the tail breaks off, Will Smith gets sucked out with the tail.
No, I watched it the first time. I thought he got sucked out into the front of the ship. I thought the front of the ship broke off. Yes.
Okay, so you thought it was, okay. So see what's happening here. This is already a problem. You shouldn't be guessing this stuff in your movie. We should know which one it is.
I had to rewatch it because I thought the front of the ship broke off. I thought Will Smith flew off into the sky.
So is Jaden in the middle?
He's in the middle.
Okay, so he's in the middle. There's the ship breaks the back because the tail breaks off this way, and then the front breaks off.
It doesn't break off. He just gets sucked into the front.
He just gets sucked because of the air from the back breaking off.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ali, for clearing that up for me. Because I swore he flew out the.
They showed the scene twice, by the way. They showed the first part of the movie, and they showed it to you. I thought so too. I was like, how did Jaden find him? Because he's off, like he got sucked out the place. That's what I thought. Jaden come across him like, there's no way. Now watch it again, like, oh. It didn't. He didn't fall. Like I thought he broke off into the first part. Even
if that is such a violent scene, if that tail broke off and Will Smith goes and smacks he broke both his legs, by the way. That would kill him. There's no. That dude went. So there's no badassery saving you from that. Anyway,
so. Will Smith tell Jaden, by the way, they had to tell you the plan twice in this movie just in case you forgot it. Because I forgot the first time Will Smith explained it to Jaden. He's like,
what's gonna do?
Yeah, he's like, you need to go hike over here, get this beacon, and bring the beacon back and use it. That beacon was our modes of survival. And then there's a part in the movie where Jaden goes through some trials and tribulations. He goes live in a cave for a moment.
Well, hold on, Ali. Hold on. Before you gotta set up the conditions first. There's two serious conditions, and they glance over them. Real good. There's two conditions. One, he's got a certain amount of time because the oxygen is bad, so he has these little inhalers essentially. Because we're asthmatic too. We understand it. he has breathing fluid. He has to take these. They only last for 24 hours. Okay, he's got 4 of them. All right, that's one condition. Condition number 2 is that it gets super cold at night. So there's hot spots where he's supposed to make it to these checkpoints at each part of the journey so he doesn't freeze over. They say this. Okay, keep telling you. You gotta know that.
One of those hotspot things he finds, and he sits there and he starts writing on the wall. He loses communication with his dad. He gets in a fight with what I talked about, the bald eagle that makes no sense. That scene happens. And also, I talk about the monkey and baboon scenes where he starts running for no reason.
To agitate them. He agitates them for no reason.
Actually, he didn't run for no reason. He starts running after he agitated them. The baboon comes up, sees him. Will Smith says, "Do not move." He picks up a rock and throws it
at him.
And then you want to know why you fell Ranger.
Yeah, that's shitty. I mean, because that like, as soon as he did that, he called up the boys. And there was like 6 of them, 7 of them. And then at that point, he's running because he ain't got no choice. But then what stops them?
The water.
Why?
The leeches, I guess, that was in there. That only one of them latch onto Jaden.
But monkeys go one at a time. And even still, okay, so let's say it was the leeches. They said the monkeys knew about the leeches. If he swam in that water like that, it would be way more than one on him. He would have been, if they were really infested in that water like leeches typically are, he would have came out
covered.
Yeah, he would have been done. Yep, that would have been the end of it.
Yep, I completely agree.
That sucked. That is correct.
but so Jaden in the movie reminds you after all that, like, oh yeah, you have to get to the beacon to save us. He says it twice. Cause the first time I missed it, and the second time, like, oh, they oh, here we go. An hour into the movie to let me know what the plot of the movie was again, because I apparently forgot it. Mind you, Will and Jaden are the only 2 that survived.
Rangers count off.
And
Rangers count off.
In the Ursa. The Ursa was the other thing.
Yes.
That was the 3 things, 3 beings. And the Ursa apparently they can't see, but they can smell fear. So they can kill humans and put them on trees as a sign.
Fear trap.
Yeah, a fear trap. Which, okay, so I guess they can have sensors or something because they can put things on trees. But whatever. The Ursa's been going around killing things. And Will Smith has like these drones floating around that can see Jaden in every little spot in time. Jaden decided to make a raft, because I guess he learned how to do that. And on this raft, he has a vision of his sister, which just caused him to, he falls asleep and sees his sister, and his sister's telling him, like, wake up, you're gonna be in danger, wake up. He wakes up in the cold, and this is where the bird comes out of nowhere that saves him, who Jaden was not able to save the bird kids earlier. Reasons.
And they show him walking around. He's trying to get to a hot spot, but they say earlier in the movie, they say his body temperature drops like 5 degrees like every 10 minutes or something, is what they were saying. So it's like, I guess they keep showing these little scenes where they kind of flip the camera and he's like looking weaker and weaker each time. I guess that's supposed to be the time pass. It's kind of really bad. So it doesn't look like time passes, but that's what happens. And he ends up in the middle of a field and he just passes out. And he like literally freezes over and just. Why doesn't the suit not react to the cold?
It did. It turned white.
But it's not. Is it doing something for him?
No.
That's what I'm saying. It says smart fabric, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to like.
Based off, like it turned black when he's in danger.
Yeah, but you would think it's supposed to. It would help that stuff. Like I play stuff like Mass Effect, and the suits are supposed to, react. Like Dune's coming out. That's one of my favorite guys. I can't wait when that comes out. But Dune, they literally in that movie, or just way back in the day, they had these things called steel suits because they're in the desert. And so what the steel suit does, it sucks the moisture out the air, so you hydrate your body. So you wouldn't make something like that if you got a suit that reacts to this environment. You wouldn't think it would have installation. Maybe if it's hot, it cools off. When it turns red, it's cooled off because it's hot. When it goes white, it puffs up. Nothing. Okay, moving on. Nothing.
Thanks to the bird sacrifice itself, Jaden managed to make his way to the tail end of the ship.
It dies because it freezes over too, apparently.
Jaden finds the beacon, can't use the beacon because the cloud and the atmosphere, so he has to go to the top of a volcano. As he gets to the top of the volcano, the Ursa finds him. And if
Ursa finds him before he even gets on the volcano.
True.
Finds him when he's at the ship.
And works his way up there. And then the Ursa fights him. Jaden managed, after some duck and dodging, managed to go ghost. Kills the Ursa. And not such
How does he go ghost?
He thought of his sister dying. And he was like, yeah, not again. And then just went from here to
his pupils dilate and
I
completely
stand up.
black.
Get my cutlass.
This fight scene. The fight scene's not that bad. I just wish it was. I wish it was longer though. It started out okay. So he's ghosting, right? The Ursa can't see him. He comes up. He runs. He chops the leg, and it looks like this cutlass is like a lightsaber. I swear, it looks like there's no resistance. He just, and the whole leg is gone. Okay, cuts the leg, slides, splits it apart, flings one at its feelers or whatever, boom, hits it in the face. Okay, it's stuck. He then jumps on top, stabs him again. It's like for a minute, holds on. The Ursa's like a dumbass, can't get him off for some reason. He picks him up, Triton mode, stabs him again in this exact same spot. So you get 2 of these stabs, couple of these, 1 slash, and 1 throw. That's the action of the movie, right there.
And he lights the beacon shoots up into the sky, and immediately this planet, which has not been inhabited on, and it's been off the grid, people are able to find it. They show up
immediately. And here's how you know it's immediately. Here's how you know how fast it is. Now watch this. Here's a little thing. Here's a side note. Will Smith, one of his legs is jacked up, like badly. Both his legs are broken, but one of them he's having an artery issue, so he can't get blood to his leg properly. So he does like a splint or something, like he connects the tube with a to get the blood flow to go to his leg, right? So his leg doesn't die. Essentially, is what he's doing, and so he's passing out because he's losing so much blood. Like they keep flashing back to Will Smith. He wants to take the painkillers, but he doesn't take them because he doesn't want to be basically fall asleep or something while Jaden's out there. So you know that time is passing. He gets weaker and weaker and weaker. He starts to pass out like you know what I'm saying. He's weaning, and they show up like right as he passes out. In enough time to save him before bleeding out and dying. Because honestly, that scene looked like he was almost dead.
Yeah.
Because he was bleeding out for almost. This is a couple days. He's just bleeding out. So he probably should have been dead already. But but they show up and with enough time to save him. So they come real fast.
Yeah, and then they rescue him. They rescue Jaden. Will Smith wants to be picked up so he can salute his son because the guy that saluted Will Smith early in the movie.
Stand me up.
And then and then they hug each other, and Jaden says, "I want to work with Mom," and Will Smith says, "I do too." They see Moby Dick, or there's a bunch of whales, as to say, and then the end of the movie. That's it.
What? So this experience, right? Now, Will Smith was already going to retire. Or, I'm sorry, Cypher Rage. This experience has shocked him so much because he was about to lose his son, Mr. Emotionless, Mr. I've already lost my daughter, Mr. Badass, that he doesn't want to be a Ranger no more. He don't want to be a Prime Commander no more. He wants to work with his wife. He doesn't want his kid to be a part of it either. One Ursa. Mr. Badass. One Ursa. This seems out of character to me.
And at the end of the movie, what got me was this. Jaden, who worked so hard to become a Ranger, just like at the end of the movie, was like, I don't want to be a Ranger anymore.
Abandons it.
But why? What was your motivation? Was your motivation trying to get your dad's praise? Was your motivation trying to avenge your sister? That's why you became a Ranger, to fight the Ursas? Because you want to avenge your sister? It doesn't seem like that, because one Ursa doesn't change the fact that there's hundreds of thousands up there.
Not to mention the aliens themselves.
So therefore, it wasn't that. Yeah. You literally just said like, nah, I had my fun. I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. That's fine. It's cool. You want to change what you want to do, but what is your motivation? I need to know. We didn't know what your motivation was from the start. We didn't understand, I didn't understand, oh, he didn't become a Ranger. At first he's like, he won't become a Ranger to please his dad. Right. His dad doesn't really care the fact that he's a Ranger or not. His dad wasn't upset that he didn't make it. His dad was like, okay, fine.
He was more upset that he was talking to him reckless.
Yeah.
I go to my room, sir.
Denied! Sit down!
So apparently the Ranger thing was not his dad's thing. His dad didn't want to become a Ranger, it seemed like it. But Jaden wanted to become a Ranger.
Trying to get his dad's attention. That's what it seemed like.
But then it changes. He keep thinking about his sister. It was never about like if it was about his dad's attention. I feel like the flashbacks you have in the movie would have been more about Will Smith and Jaden keep trying to like do anything where, hey dad, look at me, dad knows me, dad do. Never got that.
No, you don't.
You always got him interacting with his sister who was killed by Ursa. So it made me think that he's doing it for his sister.
But then there's some scenes where he does try to get his dad's attention and his dad's just like unresponsive. Like when they're on the ship. And they're sitting strapped down together. And his dad's just reading a book, and he's trying to talk to his dad, and his dad's just like,
yeah.
But he seems uninterested in everything.
But then think about this: when the flashback, when he was interacting with his daughter, Jaden was there, and he never really seemed to care about Jaden was there. To me,
No, I know. Yeah, he
like,
seems uninterested in his kids.
It's messed up. But yeah, and then Will's motivation, I don't know. Like we said, he was seeing uninterested in his kid,
In anything.
his daughter, like I don't know if his daughter death really hit him that hard. It didn't seem. He never really mentioned her. He thinks flashbacks of her, but
He don't care about his kids. There's a scene he says, what does it say? He says, Kata, if you want to get yourself killed here, that's fine, but you're not gonna kill me. Like he literally says that. He says that. So yeah, he probably doesn't care about Kata too much. Now I'm thinking, like, dang, dude. He does say that.
All right, let's get into actors and actresses. You want to add anything else to the story?
Man, I think only. Last thing, the dang breathing things. He lies for no reason about them. But see, there's this point where before the second action scene where he's getting chased by this bird. You know what I'm saying? There's he has an option to walk, and it's so off screen, but they show a little map and they go doo 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 doo. There's the walkway. He's not gonna make it because he's gonna run out of air. They say the only way for him to get there on time is if he does the jump. It does the fly jump. Now Will Smith sees this. He doesn't say anything to Jaden Smith. He tells him to abort. The fact that Jaden Smith just knows after yelling at his dad in that little situation to just jump off and fly. How does he know to do that?
I don't know.
He didn't tell him nothing about. I mean, maybe he had a course already set, but still, he didn't know to jump off.
It seemed like he had some instincts. Like he seemed like he was smart enough to know, like, okay, I should jump here. And
Maybe
because even when like his dad was trying to talk to him at the end of the movie, he couldn't hear his dad.
Right.
His dad was like, Katai, you have to do this.
Yeah.
As he's narrating what Katai is doing, like we couldn't tell, like, oh, Katai is doing this on his own. He took a knee to really like collect himself. Looked up, like, okay, that's where I need to go because apparently this is not working down here. So he's smart. It wasn't like he was a dumb person. He just wasn't making smart moves. It was weird.
They should have really showed that in the training scene. See, if they would have shown him having that intellect to where he has good intuition, like
he's book smart. Remember?
Yeah, he's book smart.
He passed everything else but collapsing the field.
And maybe he has good intuition, because that was intuition, like to go to, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he has good instincts and stuff like that. He's obviously got a good physical feature too if he's running that damn fast. I mean, he was outrunning them baboons apparently. Yeah. Dude got the speed, but it's just like they should have showed him like messing up or something.
Do the trope where movies where you have like smart characters who starts naming off mumbo jumbo stuff just so you people know like oh they're smart. like okay, the clouds are down here. The clouds are blocking this. Maybe I can take the beaker to a higher level to get the signal. Oh yes, that's what I need to do. Okay, here I go. Yeah. Those kind of things. Those characters, you know, they're annoying, could have overdone to show how smart they are.
Dekus.
Yes, but at least it gives you an idea of what they're thinking. They're speaking out loud, you that train of thought, so that way you know when something bad happens, he's calculating already.
Because you got to emphasize on those character traits to where they don't seem bland. It's like this is that guy's personality.
And maybe when emotion takes over, they like lose their, because people do this. They're people who are like consider themselves like, okay, I can think this out. I'm usually more technical and more savvy.
They always have a breaking point.
Yeah, emotion takes over, and they're like,
look at Spock.
The rule. Yeah,
it's Spock.
So they should did that, but they didn't do it with Jaden. And let's get into the actors and actresses. Will Smith, the most charismatic character of all time. He's like The Rock, one-on-one with the great one. In this movie, he is literally not electrifying, not charismatic. He is just.
I don't know who told him. not only that, but every line, and maybe this is everybody, every line is so slowly delivered every single time, every single scene.
And it made the movie so dry because of that. It really did.
I mean, there's like a dramatic pause between every word of every time Will Smith talks. It's so dramatic, but there's no emotion for it to be dramatic. So it's dramatic without being dramatic. It's like, what was that? You was talking about that scene where he's explaining how he first went ghost, and he's just like, and this is a pretty lengthy story. It's like an anecdote, and he's just like, pincer shot right through my shoulder.
And I looked at the sun.
And I looked.
It was really pretty.
And I don't want it to be there anymore.
I pulled it out.
And I pulled it out.
I didn't realize.
And he's just staring too. That doesn't help either. Yeah. He's just staring like blankly like this, like how I'm doing right now. He doesn't move. And he's just telling this whole like 5-minute story. And that's supposed to motivate somebody. It's like, nah, bro, your locker room would be looking at you crazy. Like, your locker room would be, y'all lost that game. I promise you. I promise you, that game is over. People come out with their helmets off.
Yeah, so Will Smith played Cypher Rage.
Cypher Rage.
I didn't even get his name, like Cypher Rage.
Cypher Rage.
And at the beginning of the movie, there is some, besides the, deny, sit down. And then when he's talking about like, oh yeah, what do you call the space thing? The space thing that No. When he's in the spaceship, he's like the galactic storm or something like that.
Oh, he said. So he's in the hall, and he puts his hand on the wall of the spaceship, and it starts vibrating, and he says, "This is it's thermal vibrations that he's feeling, and because of that, he can detect a asteroid storm that's approaching from way far away, and the graviton pulse that he feels." Is a precursor, that's what he said, a precursor to mass expansion. I don't know what mass expansion is. I guess that's when the asteroids just pop up on you. So the asteroids just pop up on them. And they go down with bingo power.
But like, that scene right there where he's like explaining to them what they is, and they're like, are you sure? Like, how often are you wrong? He's like, well, my wife, he sounded like a little more charismatic right there in that scene. He's like, my wife.
Slightly. My wife would have a different opinion about that.
like he's a little more enthusiastic.
He tried to be funny, but he can't. It was like someone trying to force a joke so bad.
And the director's like, eh. The director did not help. M.Night did not help. And then you have Jaden Smith, who plays Katai Rage. He wasn't ready. He was not ready. He was not ready for this role to be in this movie mostly by himself. He needed somebody to play off of. Like in Pursuit of Happiness, he had his father, and not Jackie Chan, but in Karate Kid, he had Jackie Chan to play off of. And this movie, Will Smith was like, "You handle that. I'll be back here watching you. Come watch a movie of you."
Every line is horrible. I don't like Jaden Smith at all in this movie. Katai is awful. His voice is bad. His lines are so cringy.
He actually loses his accent at one point. Cause at the beginning of the movie, he has a really strong accent. He walks a certain way. He's really like a straight and narrow. And then the movie's more loose and kind of like talking, just like free flowing.
He just screams the whole movie. He just freaks out every scene. That's all it is. You want to see someone freak out? Watch Jaden Smith in this movie. He's just, go away! Leave me alone! You're a coward! He's like, but in the scene where he's crying, he doesn't even look like he's crying that much. It's bad. It's like clearly someone threw water in his eyes. Like, this guy,
yeah,
it's bad.
I give somebody a shot, but if they want it, they should do somebody else in this movie. Another teenager.
It's like I want to harp on the acting, but it's like it's only so much acting I can really harp on because the dialogue is so bad. So then you get stuck between: is it the writing? Is it the dialogue? Is it the acting? Is it all three? And is it just because of the characters?
It's all three.
Like, the characters made to be that boring?
There's no way. I think it probably was. They probably like, dude, this futuristic movie, you gotta talk a certain way. You gotta be like this. Because Will Smith, we've seen him in other movies be so charismatic.
He is.
Like,
almost all of them.
Similar movie, iRobot. He is 10 times more charismatic in iRobot than he is in this movie. Both futuristic movies, mind you.
But he doesn't have to be a stoic ghost in that one.
And he's like the one in that movie too. Like, he was like the
he's played in a lot of sci-fi movies. You know, Independence Day. Yeah,
Men in Black.
Like Men in Black. It's always funny.
Wild Wild West.
It's always funny.
Like, yeah. And then you have Zoe Kravitz, poor Zoe Kravitz, play Shinshi Rage.
Oh, is that her name?
Yes. Shinshi Rage.
Yeah, she was in the movie for 2 seconds, anywho.
But she was a major point for them. Like,
Yeah.
And she sadly got brought into this movie. Sadly.
I love looking at this cast list because it shows you how there is nobody in the movie.
There isn't.
Check this out, y'all. You got the family, right? And then everybody else is just a grunt. Everybody else is a grunt. You got the security chief. Make way for Hespear pilot. I guess that's the name of the ship. Watch out for veteran ranger. And Private McQuarrie. How you say that? McQuarrie?
Yeah, McQuarrie.
Is that the dude that was trying to scare him?
Yeah.
That dude was a private? He was watching the Ursa? The privates? Whoa! Well, that'll explain why there was no security. You got the private watching the alien, not the veteran ranger. Not the security chief!
Yeah. Yeah.
We understand why the Ursa got out. Now I get it. The Ursa, that's why. Wasn't no damn crash.
Any last thoughts before we get into is it a Friday night movie? No. My last thoughts, the music, all you guys know I love the music. The music is not
He
bad.
likes the music.
The music actually some inspirational stuff. I heard like somebody use an inspirational video, and I was like, oh, this is what this music came from.
The set pieces are nice.
Yeah, the set pieces.
Real nice.
The CGI gets better throughout the movie, like especially when they're on Earth. Like, it's not bad.
I like the way the animals look.
Yeah, the set pieces, it's just the acting, directing, this movie just does not do it justice.
And the story.
Mm-hmm. And
the story don't make no sense. I'm sorry. You got some aliens that pop up out of nowhere. There's nothing. They say nothing about the aliens. The aliens just come here, don't like people, drop these fear-seeking animals down. The aliens are gone. We never see anything about the aliens. We see one Ursa the entire movie after they dropped a plethora of them on not planet but planets. So it's just like, yeah. Maybe they were trying to build that up for number 2 or something. They would open that up, but they didn't get the chance. That's all I got to say.
Alright, Friday night movie. This is a Friday night movie?
Nah, man. This is a background movie at best.
Yeah, it's not a Friday night movie. Don't watch this on a Friday night. If, like you said, background movie, you want a movie pass the time and want to like look at some set pieces and see Will Smith watch a movie of Jaden, then yeah. Backpack, you'll get more out of watching reviews of this movie. You get more watching Nostalgia Critic. Care how you feel about him. Watching Nostalgia Critic. You get more watching the honest trailer of this. And the pitch meeting.
I love the honest trailer.
The pitch meeting of this. The honest trailer guy, the voice honest trailer guy actually quit.
So funny.
He quit the honest trailer review. You get more out of those than really watching this movie. Matter of fact, this is the first time I watched this movie ever. Like, we'll do this review. I've not seen this movie. I actually seen the honest trailer review of it in college. Like in 2000 and...
I saw this in theaters.
15 or 14, and I remember dying laughing at this. I was like, yeah, M.Night Shyamalan wasn't good to me. Like, he ruined Last Airbender.
He was good in the 90s, and then he just once his like 90s early 2000 films were done, like 2006 he just went.
I feel like The Happening is worried.
It is.
It started to tank but then you have Unbreakable. Unbreakable is one of his good ones. Glass is the trilogy. Mm-hmm. Split, I heard.
Aren't they all a part of the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I heard Split was really good. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, that was like, what, 2-3 years ago? Wasn't it?
4 years ago?
Was it really that long?
3 years ago? It came out not too long ago.
Like 17 maybe?
Because Glass came out last year, or the year before.
Dang.
But anyway, I heard Split was a good one. So, like, I'll get around to that trilogy, but, like...
Has he made anything since?
Glass.
Oh, yeah, you said just that. Yeah, that was the only thing. Yeah,
which
he heard about it.
Samuel Jackson, James McAvoy, and Bruce Willis. I don't know how you can run that cat.
But he is right. You can't. You can.
He did just run. He did just run Will Smith.
And it's not just him. I mean, I've seen other directors do it too, where you have a really good cast, and it's just like if they're not given good script and good dialogue, I mean, it can fall.
Right.
No matter how talented an actor is, you know what I'm saying?
Grading time. You want to go first? I'll go first.
You go first on this one. I don't know what you got to say.
I'm gonna grade After Earth.
Because you only seen this first. I saw this back then.
2013, a solid D. It gets a D for me. The reason why this movie gets a D for me because the CGI is not that bad. The CGI is not that bad. The story, it drags, and the dialogue is not good. And some set piece in the background is horrible. But it's not like such a horrible movie where you're just like, I can't finish this movie. You will eventually, if you sit there and watch it, you can get through this movie, and you be like, you know what? It wasn't as bad as everybody makes it sounds to be. It's tolerable. Put it that way. It's tolerable. And there's moments that you're like, yeah, I'm about this. The music is not bad. Some of the scenes and the speaking points, like especially when Will Smith said fear is a choice, but danger is very real. But living your life and expecting being in fear of the future, that message, like that's powerful. I was into that. Katai finally learned how to ghost and fighting the Ursa at the end. I was like, okay, you know, I'm curious how this is gonna finish up. But how we get to some of the stuff, the fact that Eagle comes out of nowhere and fights Katai or try to kidnap him and then feed her chicklings to him, and then he doesn't save her chicklings and let them get eaten by these lions, and then she comes back and saves them for no reason. Why was that scene in this movie? Don't know. Just to kill time.
Just a reason to make the eagle save him.
Yeah, like there was no reason for that there.
Eagle shouldn't have died either.
No, the eagle should have been around to help him fight.
The eagle lives in that environment. It makes no sense for that to happen.
Some of the writing is not good, and the story beats are not good. But I've seen worse movies. I've seen worse. So it's not an F. It's not a D plus. It's a D. And I think the fact that it saves me from getting a D minus is probably because Will Smith, I know that he can act, and the fact that he did such a good job playing the role he was directed to play. Jaden, on the other hand, it's a D.
He's good now. Jaden's great now.
I've not seen anything else.
You didn't see him in The Get Down?
No.
Watch The Get Down.
Okay.
He's good. He's fine now. Okay. I'm gonna give this a D minus, man. I'm giving it a D minus because this movie disappointed me, man. I was on the hype train. I had an After Earth keychain. Guess where it's at now? The circular file. I see the recycling bin. I eat a trash can. Look, man. I give this a D minus because the story is broken. It doesn't make sense. This movie gives me it does this to me. It goes, I'm interested, take the winds out of the cell. I'm interested, and it takes the winds out of my cells. I'm interested, and it takes the winds out of my scale. It's boring. This is a movie that you see playing on 17 screens in Best Buy. In the background. Like, this is what this movie is for. The volume's off, subtitles are on, and nobody's paying attention to it. That's this movie. Because when you watch it, no, it's not a Friday night movie. Because when you watch it, it's so boring. If you can get 5 people to sit down, like I implore you to try it. Get 5 people to sit down, watch this, no alcohol, no nothing. Watch this movie and have them actually pay attention to it. Somebody's falling asleep, bored, walking up. You're going to see excessive bathroom breaks. Like, it's boring. And the only reason it's boring is because there's not enough action in between the exposition. There's so much talking and slow dialogue, mind you. That really gets me. I hate that every scene, everybody talks like this. And it slows every scene down. And like I said, the movie seems so much longer than it is because everything's so drug out. And then you drag all this exposition with some cool adventure elements, which I like the adventure stuff, and kind of just man versus nature. I like that. But then the fight scenes, in which there's only like 3, right? 3? Or it's not even a fight scene. It's the action sequences, is what I should say. The chase.
The chase is an action sequence.
Baboon chase.
You have him fighting the lions.
2 hits on the lion.
But with the most...
That's the only attack, right? Is that one swing?
The most awkward jump slash I've ever seen, where Jaden jumps to the side of a lion and somehow slices it, going literally perpendicular to it. By
the way, now that you said that, so wait, there's that one, and then there's the last scene where he's fighting the Ursa. So you got 3 action sequences in which he really only fights on the last one. And last point, with the most uninspired, stupidest weapon I've ever seen in a movie. I'm so sorry. They could have swapped this cutlass out for anything else. I would have rather him had a machete. I'd rather him had a gun. Anything else. Laser, because this thing is stupid. They show that it can do all this stuff for no reason.
But the only thing it was just a blade.
It's just a blade. Yeah, it's just a blade that can take different forms of other blades that do the exact same thing. It's like, do you want to cut them with the hook blade, or do you want to cut them with the knife blade, or do you want to cut them with the trident blade? They all stab and slash.
You know, to the trident to the very end.
He does the trident one time. He does the hook blade just to climb up one time. And then he does And then he does the knife blade 90% of the time, in which he's switching stances like he doesn't know how to use it. I don't know if you guys ever seen somebody use a twin-bladed weapon, Darth Maul, Thanos, anybody? Notice that they're not switching positions every 5 seconds because it's supposed to cut a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't know how to use it, and then all of a sudden he does. And he's flipping it around like some wushu master, and he's throwing it.
Maybe we got better story on how he became the cadet, how he got into the training.
He apparently was good in the field because as soon as he went ghost, he was getting it. He and even that jump, he wasn't even ghost, but he did that very athletic, very awkward jump. But you gotta be athletic to do a jump like that. You can't just do that. So apparently he was good in the field. He just has issues with his emotions. So he should have said that.
I give it a D.
D-.
Tyreik gives it a D-. If you guys seen After Earth, right now this movie has sucked my soul out. I said you can see my reaction. If you guys seen After Earth, what do you think? Please put in the comment section below. Tyreik, thank you for coming on to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I appreciate it. And also, what review you want to watch? Please put in the comment section below and we get to it best we can. Other than that, thank you guys for coming to this episode of Movie Breakdowns. See y'all next time and keep being awesome.
This will be your creation.
Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episodes of Movie Breakdowns or Grind Towards Success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.